Here's John Smoltz. How are you, John?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
It just seems to me these guys who are in the World Baseball Classic are really into it, John. You could just see it. You could feel it.
I'm always intrigued, I guess. You can have a bunch of different views on this thing, but I'm always intrigued when they actually get to their respective teams, the amount of intensity and really the emotion of wanting to get and win it all. And there's some I think this pool's loaded. The second pool that we have here in San Diego, and you saw two really good games. As it progresses, it gets closer and closer to regular season baseball. What I mean by that is you have the pitchers go a little longer. It's less spring training type, 7 pitchers a game. And and I'll tell you, when you get here and you play on the USA roster and you hear you haven't even got to the championship, these guys are proven and wanting to say that they're the group that did it.
Well, Adam Jones is as good as they come in baseball, certainly in his position. And Eric Hosmer, who is a World Series champion, they both hit home runs in the 8th inning against Venezuela, and they honestly acted like they were in the World Series as they were rounding the bases.
Yeah, they started off slow in their first 2 games of the respective pools, but they came up big late. And it's not easy managing. I think Jim Leland is realizing how much fun but tension there is with this, and the opportunity to get guys in, get at bats. You're talking about some players that would never get pinch hit for, or some players would never be on the bench. They're having to adapt that to it, and they've all bought in. So good for the U.S. roster, who has basically a whole new roster of guys who have not experienced this, and they seem to be gelling at the right time.
And you've also got Adrian Gonzalez hopping mad about Team Mexico not advancing based off of a rule that they thought they had covered but didn't get specific information from the league. What can you tell us about this one, John?
Well, when it's different, right? When you play a tournament, and baseball doesn't play many of these, so you're accustomed to just winning and trying to advance. But the technicality, it is what the rules were. It's just kind of information, I think, that wasn't transformed or given to them in a way where they understood it. And I think it's too bad to have those emotions. Those are the emotions I'm talking about. You're talking about a team that lost a very tough game to Italy, and it comes down to basically getting one out that they were hoping to get in that 9th inning. But they blew a 4-run lead, and it was a dramatic win for Italy. And then you're in the premise that you're going to move forward, and I think everything will settle down after time. But in the moment, you can understand why guys were upset, feeling like getting here to San Diego was a priority, and certainly maybe even getting to L.A. So it's tough for a tournament to end like that, and you go back to your respective teams.
Meanwhile, back at the Grapefruit and Cactus Ranches, what is the story of spring training based on what you've seen so far in terms of a team trying to gel or a team that can compete this year for the first time in a long time? What do you think, John Smoltz?
It's amazing. I was just talking with my partner, Matt Vasgersian, and you get lost in space when you're covering this pool, and you go, is spring training still going on?
That's right.
It's like all these teams have, especially the Tigers, they have 15 guys represented in their organization. So imagine the vacuum of players that leave there. It's kind of an oddity when this event goes every 4 years. When you see teams trying to prepare for the regular season, and then with the one eye they're looking at their players, hoping they do well and get the reps they need. But I visited only a few camps based on this journey, and I was intrigued very much with the way that the Rangers run their camp, the atmosphere that they have there, the excitement of which they do every single day. You think it would get old and mundane, but they create this. It's very unique. They got a basketball rim outside their locker room. Speaking of March Madness, they have their own little March Madness where they pair everybody off that is on the roster. 62 guys go at it, and they eventually, by the end of spring training, get down to they crown a champion for free throw shooting. And I think it's brilliant. I think that what they do and how they did it last year, a lot of people in the analytic world don't think can be duplicated. All those comeback wins and one run wins, but they got something special there. And of course, to me, the Dodgers are going to be the focus on can they can they upstart? Can they take care of the National League for a change and get back to the World Series? They are very deep, and if they stay healthy, look for them to make a long run.
That said, one of my favorite moments I've seen on a diamond in some time, and this is, I'm not just saying this because you're covering the World Baseball Classic, and I'm talking to you now, John Smoltz, was Javi Baez taking that throw from Molina to tag out Cruz, not even looking at it, celebrating as he's putting the glove down. And I saw that, and I thought to myself, this kid, with the experience that he got last year, now playing a full year in Major League Baseball, and with Schwarber coming back, and now with Rizzo and obviously Bryant, all of those guys having that experience under their belt and winning, how in the world are the Cubs not going to be better than what we saw last year? Is what I thought.
I think they will. I think they will be better, but you know how difficult it is, right? Well, you got the bullseye right there, and everybody certainly want to prove why you can knock the champs off. But you're right. Baez is the ultimate weapon a team could possibly have. If he continues to progress at all at the plate, just minutely, he is a star, and he can play so many different positions. What the Cubs will be dealing with, obviously for the first time for most of them, with the exception of Lester, is that whole position of the journey, right? They all know they're going to be in the playoffs unless something crazy happens physically for them, and then it's getting everybody's best shot. So I agree. I think they can be better. I don't know if that'll equate to win total, a better win total, but they're approaching this, in my mind, as equipping themselves again with depth and taking their time with a lot of their pitchers and trying to establish a long run that gives them an advantage once they get to the playoffs.
And now, John, that you're a few months removed from it, I mean, obviously you've been there, you've done that, you won a World Series, you've been in World Series. You know, that game, you versus Andy Pettitte, you can't get any more intense on the bigger spot back in '96. Having been in the broadcast booth for that World Series last year, now that you're removed from that Game 7, I mean, how special really was that, being there and seeing that whole thing go down? John?
I mean, it feels like a dream, honestly. You prepare yourself for doing a job and wanting to be at the pinnacle of whatever the sport is. And for me, as a player, I was able to appreciate it, go through it, live in the moment, be in the moment. And the same thing as a broadcaster. My dream was, well, if I'm going to do this for however many years after retiring from baseball, I would love to be doing the World Series. I got that opportunity last year, and I'm just telling you, I wish time could have stopped about 10 different times when things happened, and it just felt like it was in slow motion. I hope for the rest of my career all my broadcasts feel like they're in slow motion. But it's more work than anything I've ever had to do, including pitching, because of there's 50 players, 25 on each team. When you pitch, you only concern yourself with 8, maybe 9, and you just focus on that, and you get in your own little tunnel. But for me, that was one of the greatest moments to be part of a storyline that you just can't match. I mean, for my first World Series, to have 2 storylines like Cleveland and Chicago, and the whole world basically watching, it was pretty fun.
And I thought you said it was the most work because, Joe Buck was such an anchor just dragging you down.
No, far from it. I think the biggest thing for me is you got to continuously catch up with the new age way that the game is played. You can't rely on what the game was played 15 years ago. You're constantly evolving, and the information is overkill, and you're having to sift kind of through what you can use. And fortunately, there were enough veteran guys on each staff that knew and have been kind of, I called, grandfathered in this new age way of playing the game. And you could kind of follow and predict. For me, all I want to do is give the casual fan something new, and the expert fan something new. I'm always trying to figure out a way to explain it so that the rookie and the veteran fan can appreciate kind of the same thing in a different way.
Well, I'm a baseball fan, and I'm a longtime broadcaster. You're doing it, John. You're awesome at it. You and Joe are terrific. Before I let you go, what's your Final 4? Who do you have, John?
This is the least amount of opportunity for me to be part of March Madness because of this inundated. I did something that I only did two. It's the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I'm going to go with, just because I put it together so fast,
Yep.
I got the unpredictable rematch, believe it or not.
You've got Villanova. And how about the result? The same result? Villanova, UNC?
North Carolina this time coming out on top. I also had two Pac-10 teams in there in the Final Four. So it's impossible. I got your boys winning a couple rounds.
Okay.
Coming up against Oregon, Michigan, the hottest team in the Big Ten. The Big Ten's not going to get a lot of credit. People are going to consider it a weak conference because there's no great teams, but I think people will be surprised the balance of those 7 teams that are going to be in. My Spartans got a tough situation. I'm hoping they can win 2 games, but before I know it, this thing will take me through the end of March.
You'll be playing baseball.
How many games I'll actually get to watch of March Madness, but hopefully I'm a Big Ten guy.
I know that.
If Michigan gets to go all the way, I'll be rooting for Michigan, unlike most Spartan people. So just know you got that.
I appreciate. So you have Michigan beating Rick Pitino, huh? You got Michigan beating Louisville?
Yeah,
okay.
I think because the way that Michigan can shoot the threes, it gives a zone a lot of problems.
I like it.
I do think the Big Ten has an opportunity to surprise some people because no one's looking at them as if they,
That's true.
this year.
That's true. John, thanks for calling in. Enjoy the rest of the World Baseball Classic. We'll catch up with you shortly, hopefully.
All right, I appreciate it.
You bet. You got it. It's John Smoltz of the MLB Network right there.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.